Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Kent County Water Authority Board meeting for November 19th, 2020 is now in session. I would like to lead us in a salute of our great flag and in memory of all the veterans. Let's hope that it continues. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Let the record show that the board members present are Jeff Roussel, Brian Courts, Russ Crossman, Joe Gallucci, and myself, Bob Boyer. I would need a motion to accept the minutes of Mr. Sullivan, unless there are some changes you would like to have. That's where we stand.
This is Brian. I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Courts makes a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting,
I'll second that motion.
seconded by Mr. Crossman.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So be it. Also let the record show that I think Dave might have covered it. Mr. Sullivan, Mike Lanfredi, and John DeShano are also present.
Mhm.
We have a guest today from Hague, Sahadi and Company. It's a review audit for the year ending June 30th, 2020. What I would like to see is in the presentation to be precise and the figures that we are looking for to really ascertain as to the present status. So if you would give your name, please.
I am Raquel Machado.
I'm Josie Araújo.
Hold on a minute. Palmachano. And you?
Josie Araújo.
Spell the last name, please.
Araujo.
Okay. You can lead it off.
All
It's all
right,
up to you.
sounds good. Good afternoon, everyone. We are the auditors from Hague and Sahadi, and we were engaged to audit the authority for June 30th, 2020. So does everybody have a copy of the financial statements? Yep, okay. So we're going to start on page 3, which is the second page of the independent auditors report. And I want to begin with just saying that there was, this was a favorable audit conclusion reported on this engagement. The opinion is fairly stated in all material respects, which is considered a clean opinion. During the audit, there were no instances of non-compliance, and there were no matters relative to internal controls identified and reported. Mike does a great job every year, and we are always happy to work with him. This year, we had 0 adjusting journal entries, which is great. Just means that Mike has been keeping excellent records, accounting records throughout the year. So we're just gonna talk about some highlights, and they can be seen starting with the MD&A, which is the management's discussion and analysis, which starts on page 5. So basically, I really wanted to highlight that the net position increased by $8.9 million in fiscal year 2020, totaling $177 million. Of that 177 million, 9.9 million is designated as unrestricted. So the authority has the ability, with obviously the approval of the board, to use the funds for any projects, anything to be purchased, payments, anything. The other amounts are restricted for infrastructure placement, debt service, and investment in capital assets. And on page 7, you'll be able to see which amounts are designated for each area. There you can see on page 7 that total assets increased by 6.3 million from the prior year. This increase was due to the purchasing of about $5.7 million in capital assets. Liabilities decreased by $2 million. This was due to principal payments on the revenue bonds in fiscal year 2020. If you turn to page 8, you'll see a condensed statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. This shows a slight decrease in operating revenues. This was due to COVID-19. We were made aware that the authority did follow participated in the RIPUC directive to hold off on shutting off services. So you do see a decrease in revenue for fiscal year 20, and you might see the same decrease in revenue for fiscal year 2021 due to the pandemic. But there was also a slight decrease in operating expenses, but there were overall in fiscal year 20, there was not a loss of funds. We can go to page 10, where we talk about the economic factors and the participation with, I just mentioned, the authority and the RIPUC. You don't have to follow these directives, but the authority did for fiscal year 20. So it just goes on to talk about how COVID, like the reasoning for the decrease in the revenues and decrease in expenses due to COVID. Starting on page 12, this is where the financial statements go into a little bit more detail. The reader, as the reader, you can see the breakdown of the assets and the liabilities. It gives you a, instead of just saying total current assets, it really just pinpoints what is considered current assets, what's considered not current assets, and the liabilities. So along with on page 14, you can also see the breakdown of operating expenses and operating revenues. Page 15 starts the statement of cash flows, and it's carried on to page 16. And it presents the additions and deductions to the organization's operating, financing, and investing activities on the cash basis. Page 17 starts the statement of fiduciary net position, which presents pension and the OPEB trust. So compared to prior year, there was a slight increase in investments for the pension and for the OPEB trust. And there was a slight decrease in employer contributions for the pension trust and a slight increase in employer contributions for the OPEB trust. At this time, for fiscal year 20, OPEB was funded at 4.66%, which was an increase from prior year 3.29%. Page 19 starts the notes to the financial statements, where you as the reader can go through and see detailed information for each aspect of the financial statements. On page 21, you would normally see new GASB accounting standards that we would implement during the year. However, due to COVID-19, the GASB really did us a favor and kind of just pushed those off about a year, some of them a year, some of them 2. There were some that the authority just didn't need to implement. So those are listed saying that there would be no material implementation for the authority. And then on page 26, I really wanted to pinpoint the long-term obligation just because of the new changes that are going on in FY21. So you can see that the reductions, there was a $3.4 million payment in FY20. However, starting in FY21, you will have paid off your debts for these revenue bonds, and you're going to be saving about $218,000 in interest. So that is great. So one of the bonds is callable, so that will be directly paid off. The other one will be an escrow until 2022, until that bond is callable. However, you won't be paying any more interest on those bonds. That's pretty much it. So you'll save approximately about $218,000 in interest, and you'll be closing 5 restricted accounts. And that's all we have. If you have any questions, we're open for answering them.
Anyone for questions? Mike, have you got any comments?
It was a very smooth audit.
It was.
I enjoy working immensely with both Raquel and Josie. Very knowledgeable and a pleasure to work with, and looking forward to working with them in the future.
Likewise, Mike.
I thought it was a very professional and precise audit report.
Great.
I want to thank you. Any questions by anyone else? Dave?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move an item on the agenda. The RFP award for auditing services for the next 3 years. If you could move that to the next item on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, just because we have Raquel and Josie here representing Hagen Sahadi, they're the only ones that responded to the RFP. So I'm just going to read this. After reviewing the proposals, excuse me, wrong one. After reviewing the proposal submitted by Hagen Sahadi and Company CPA, the proposal was submitted in line with the requirements set forth in the RFP. The proposer listed their qualifications and included 8 copies of the RFP and delivered them to us prior to the November 10th deadline. No other proposals were received. We are recommending the RFP for auditing services to be awarded to Hagen Sahadi and Co. CPA. They have been auditing firm for the past 6 years and are very familiar with our operation. We're very happy with you guys.
Good, thanks.
So with that being said, I would like to respectfully request a motion to award Hagen Sahadi and Company the bid to provide auditing services for the next 3 years, with options 2 and 3 being open to the authority. Year 1 being $25,000, year 2 being $26,000, and year 3 being $27,000.
Anyone
make
for
an-
motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve what Dave just said.
Okay, Mr. Rousseau makes a motion to extend the partly to extend Cardi's contract for 3 years, et cetera, et cetera. Do I have a second on that motion?
I will second, Brian.
Brian Courts, seconding the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So be it.
Can I ask a couple of quick questions back on the audit, if it's not too
Sure.
late? At the very beginning, you had mentioned that I believe our assets are about $5 million higher than last year.
It's infrastructure like for the pipes that you guys put underground. That's like the capital assets is higher. All the construction in progress that is put into like service, that will go into your capital assets.
Okay, great. And then the second question was on the OPEB contributions. You said were somewhere around 4.5%, I think.
Correct.
And is that in line with where it should be?
Well, OPEB is very tough. I mean, that is like a low percentage, but some places has a higher percent. They can contribute more, and some places are like pretty much in the same as you guys are.
But are we at risk of underfunding our pension at all?
The pension, no. OPEB is it's like a little bit different.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just had an observation on page 10 where it said our new rates contributed or should contribute to a 15.2% decrease in somebody's bills in the coming year. In light of what we've been dealing with the last few weeks, I just wanted to highlight that point.
Okay. All right.
Have we been dealing with something?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm stuck in the office. I
Yeah.
don't know anything.
Any other questions of the young ladies? Well, we want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure working with all of you,
Very good
and
job.
especially Mike.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Mr. Sullivan on the cone.
Okay. There's a lot of litigation going on with this receiver.